Aisa, Rachel. How's it going?
Great.
This,
Social media, you gotta turn it vertically.
well, this is for YouTube.
Oh, that's live.
Yeah. It's- We're getting insights already.
Thank you all for making it today. Looking forward to this talk. We had it in the past about 2 years ago. We did a similar talk with a lot of changes in 2 years, and it hasn't ceased to be relevant. How we market ourselves online and use social media in our businesses. We're fortunate enough to have Scott Harris of ClientClicks, who's an expert in the online or digital marketing, and Rachel Melby of Blue Hill, who is famous around here for her social media prowess, and it has so many insights that are going to be valuable to you. All right, now without further ado, I'm gonna hand it off to our first speaker.
Creator mindset. So a little bit more specific than just social media. I want you guys to walk away from this feeling like not only am I a business owner, entrepreneur, but also a creator. And it shouldn't feel scary. I always like to start though with why you should listen to me. I'm not just a realtor around town, but I have a long career as a brand strategist. I worked at Google and YouTube for a dozen years, helping online personalities build their brands and figure out how to best leverage digital platforms and build what we call their digital footprint. But I now am a real estate team here in El Cerrito and using social media almost entirely. I built a three-person team who I'm happy to say is now one of the top producing team in our area. But I have also lived in El Cerrito for 10 years. I consider myself to be a community builder. I'm a cool mom and a huge proponent of small business ownership and entrepreneurship. So super happy to be y'all here today. I will be filling in this slide as we go along. So you're going to become a content creator, and we're going to debunk these myths that you need to be perfect before you post, that you don't have time to post, that you can just outsource it entirely, or that you need any fancy equipment to get started. And then we'll fill in all of the ways in which we're going to get started to make that true. But first, let's talk about why social media is still relevant. Instagram, Facebook, they've been around a while now, decade plus. What's got 20 years on Facebook, 25? Social media is here, it's not going away. And in fact, it's more important now than ever before. And part of that is because Google, still the world's largest search engine, now indexes social media posts. It used to be that Google could only search blogs and articles and really text rich content, but now it can scan the photos that you're posting. It can read the captions. It can read the text overlays. And that's stuff that you're posting more often, probably than writing a full article or posting a whole blog, is going to be popping up in Google searches. People are looking for you or what you're selling. Video across a lot of platforms is still dominating and will continue to dominate, I believe. It's the number one format across every platform: Facebook, TikTok. Kids are still doing Snapchat. You can believe it. And businesses that are focusing on education and entertainment are winning new customers by doing videos, serious or silly, every day. And I really want you to think about Instagram as your second website. So one of the first things a lot of small business owners do when they set up shop is they pick out their business name, they get a logo, and they build a website. And that's great, and you should still absolutely do that. It adds this layer of legitimacy to what it is that you're doing. People can search for you, and like a real thing will pop up. But think of Instagram as a real thing that's popping up, and think about setting up your Instagram profile, any of your social media profiles, as a secondary website. It should have your brand name, not some other random handle. It should have a logo that matches exactly what you're putting on your webpage. And it should have some sort of cohesive brand identity. If you're Jenny K and you've got a purple store, like maybe you're incorporating purple text overlays in your social media content. It's just an example. So you're going to tell them in the bio who you are, what you stand for, whether or not to trust you. There's a lot of information that gets communicated really quickly. Here's what's winning on social media right now. Selling does not work. Cold selling is out, but building community is a way to engage the people that you want to participate in your business in a way that doesn't feel slimy. You never know when your followers will buy from you, but consistent posting keeps you top of mind. There's no such thing as one pocket post that's going to go viral and land you into this upper echelon of small businesses. You're getting a line around the block. It really comes after repeated performance, time and time again, slowly building that fan base and that engagement. A viral post can help, but it's not the end all be all. Authenticity outperforms aesthetics every time. In fact, we're seeing a trend now, especially in my industry, that folks who are doing these really polished, high production value videos are getting a lot less engagement than people who are just filming themselves walking down the street and talking to you casually. And people are more often than not going online to kill time, to be entertained, to learn the fun fact, and definitely not going online to look for what should I buy today. That's just as a natural byproduct of showing up for it, right? Scrolling and buying things in the middle of the night. No, it's not just me. Old mindset, post to sell. Every post is an advertisement. Count every like as your measure of success and be perfect. That's all out. The new mindset is post to connect, to truly build community, to build a long-term brand, and really to be you, to be authentic, to be real. There's this other trend that you've probably noticed. You're spending any time scrolling, and that is strong point of views and bold statements are also winning. You're saying in marketing that if you are trying to appeal to everyone, you're appealing to nobody. The riches are in the niches. You've probably heard a lot of these. And this is basically what I'm trying to get across with this statement. Be provocative. Have a point of view. You don't have to worry so much about being agreeable or likable or for everybody. If you put a bold point of view out there or something that really differentiates yourself from another business like you, people are going to lean in when it does resonate. So it's almost like filtering out followers that aren't your vibe by putting your real thoughts and maybe some polarizing content out there. Um, hopefully you guys have a pen, a paper. I want to stop and reflect a couple of times throughout this short session, but just in the spirit of thinking about having a point of view and potentially putting out bold statements that aren't totally vanilla, trying to appeal to every single possible person in town. What is one thing that your business does better than anyone else in your market? It be a single sentence. Imagine this is the way that you're telling your neighbor why they should hire you instead of the other plumber or the other realtor or whatever business that you're in. No jargon, just one on one, human to human. And if anybody's feeling so great who wants to share, I would love to hear what you do and why it's different and why it's special.
We have any more tips? We have to do.
Yay.
So I think for me, for my business, I am actually selling a kind of product that has a very unique base ingredient, which no one in the market does have. Um, So that's a great thing. But then, when I do reflect on it, I feel like the part that's missing is me letting people know that how this product is completely different from what you see on the shelves or anyone else. But then highlighting that back is something that I've kind of
Yeah, you're using a unique ingredient that nobody else is using and maybe that you're introducing people to for the first time. Like that's really catchy. That's gonna stop my scroll. That's going to entice me to learn more. I just got a delivery yesterday from Froya Skincare. Probably seen this advertised all over the internet. Their big marketing tagline is "We don't use water in any of our products. No water anywhere." And it didn't occur to me until I read that most skincare products are water-based. By paying for a lot of water. And whether or not that truly matters, that they're putting that out there as their differentiator, stuck with me. And I'm like, why should I pay for water? I'm gonna pay for the concentrated oil. So I love that example. And I think that you should absolutely lean into sweet ingredients. Anybody else care to share? Makes you different, better? Yeah, feeds.
So with our business uh, coupon club, our niche is that we open 365 every single day. Christmas, New Year's Eve, Memorial Day.
It's amazing.
And when people
Club here.
Yeah.
On Superhero.
right across the farmer.
Yeah, love you. Thanks.
And so that's where people are free to come and exercise. So if they our other digits of family friend, so it could be a total beginner, not minute.
I love that. And that's going to be a huge marketing point this summer because people want to know what to do with their kids. And we're constantly looking up things on the fly. When is the movie? What time is this open? If you put out there, this is open every single day of the year. I know exactly where I'm taking my kids when I have no other ideas. You're always going to be there. That's great. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Angela, I work for the practice space. We're a women's color nonprofit, and we specialize in anything communication skill development. What differentiates us is not just the tangible, concrete communication skill like techniques that we teach, but also the like shifting the mindset and the framework, and then also providing a safe space for their voice, whether it's in our physical office or any of our programs. So it's kind of that like hand in hand of like concrete techniques and tangible skills.
Love that. I see a lot of content that really excites me when I'm scrolling. That's like what you didn't know, top 10 skills you didn't know you needed for Oregon Tech
Right.
or, just a really catchy hook that I feel like you guys could be creating a lot of content around. People understand that there are like hard skills to doing what you're teaching, but maybe haven't thought about soft skills as much. Well, thanks, guys. So there's also a framework that I want to teach you when we're thinking about building our brand and what type of content to create called the 4 Ps: purpose, position, personality, and perception. Purpose is all around defining why do you do what you do. It could be called a mission, a vision statement, your guiding principles, or the so what or who cares factor. Really think about why somebody would want to root for you and the success of your business. Think about what your origin story is. Why did you start this? What were your humble beginnings? Bring people in on the journey of starting small in your business. The hard times, the not so glamorous moments, because the people who are there from the very beginning will feel like they helped make you and they will turn into your biggest champions later on. And sharing your purpose or your creational story is a big part of that. Position, it's similar to the exercise that we just did. Your stance in the market. What is it that makes you different and relevant? Why are you different from another ping pong scent for? Why are you different than another food product that I'm trying for the first time? Why choose you at the fair and not somebody else? So really being unafraid to put out there what makes you different, especially if you have a competitor really close to you in the space. Personality. How does your brand look, sound, and behave across every touch point? I mentioned that your Instagram account should mirror your website, the colors, the branding, the style of photos that you're using. Brands do have personalities, and it's important to start thinking of yourself as a brand, either the figurehead of your brand or an extension of your brand. And the experience that I have as a consumer or a customer as I move across the web and interact with your social media accounts and your web presence should feel congruent. I shouldn't feel like, oh, is this from Instagram? Doesn't quite feel like I got from the website onto the right page. So all of those touch points matter. And lastly, perception. How your audience actually interprets and experiences your brand. In the brand strategy world, we say that your brand is not what you think it is. It's what other people think it's what other people say about you when you leave the room. Oh, that's the guy who this, that, and that. This is the real estate agent who likes to throw festivals, like the extra money that she makes. What other people take off the top of your brand is effectively what your business is in the world. And you can change that, but you have to be really conscious about it. Always remember that the socials are an extension of your brand, and if it is confused or incongruent, then the concept will feel confused too. Going a little bit deeper into these 4 Ps and defining your brand, these are great questions to jot down. If you could answer some of them in the sidelines, I'd like we'll have a printout of this. But these are some helpful questions to help you get at your purpose, the position, the personality, and perception. So if you felt that you're a little bit stuck and didn't know how to answer those questions that you just walked through, these should help you needle in it a little bit more deeply. And since we're creating content and we're creating businesses that support and show up for people, it's so really important to stop and reflect on who your ideal customer is. Is it kids? Is it older people? I don't know. Who are they? What do they actually care about? And go beyond the demographics, not just age, not just gender, life stage, but the psychographics. What is it that keeps them up all night? Why are they scrolling my skincare at 11 p.m. when they should be sleeping? Fears of aging. Okay, what are people's fears? What it's really attacking them emotionally, and find out if there are ways that you can be relatable in those moments. What do they get to celebrate? What's important to them? What are they posting on social media? One of my favorite things to do when I get a new prospective client is to look at their social media. I can learn a lot about what matters to them. They're dog people. If they have kids, if they're super proud of their career, people are putting it out there. And you can learn a lot about your target customer by following them and seeing what they celebrate. Has anybody done this exercise before? Your ideal customer avatar?
Probably.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Should all be thinking about these things. When I worked in my previous career, we used to actually look through magazines, find somebody who represented a specific person who would write thought bubbles around, what do they care about? And we would pin it, on our desk while we were working on the brand so that every single piece of content that you're writing or photographing for, you can look back at this representation of who your customer is, say, is she going to read this? Is she going to like this? And you can have multiple customers, multiple ideal customers, but, you can take to various levels. So we're going to talk about why you actually do have time to produce the amount of content that small businesses who are succeeding are producing. And that is batch planning. We're going to talk about structuring your content, picking a block of time to create the content, and how we're going to use that to show up consistently. I do not batch plan any of my content. I have this weird sickness where I am obsessed with social media and documenting everything that I see that I love, reminds me of something, and I create content on the fly pretty much only. Even if it's something that looks kind of polished, like I put it on Canva, I was just walking down the street and I had the idea and I got in my car and I made it and I posted it. I know that 90% of content creators are not like me and they need to think about batch planning and content calendars. But if anybody is like me, I would really love to talk to you. So make yourself known. Yes, yeah, just inspiration strikes. But for those non-weirdos who are actually like really obsessed with doing what you're doing in your business only, you have to figure out how to communicate to the rest of the world that you have a business and that it's great, that they should know about it. And so there are sales focused types of content that you can create, and there are community building types of content that we can create. And we should be creating a mix of both, ideally 2 and 2. So 2 sales pillars and pick 2 of these community pillars. A brand that connects with people and converts followers to sales is doing both of these things really well, whether they know it or not. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into these. The sales focused pillars, convince and excite, is the difference between a hard and a soft sell. Convincing is trying to drive conversions or sales through really strategic, value focused content. I post stuff like this all the time. It's a part of my business. Testimonials and case studies, before and afters, direct calls to action or offers. If you have a sale or a promotion happening at your business, that should be somewhere, but it's considered a hard sell and you can't only hard sell. Is the point. Example, here's why our clients come back every year. That could be the hook, and then you can elaborate with a customer story or sharing more about why you do what you do or what makes you different. The softer sell is getting people excited. Something new is coming. There's a promotion. There's a sneak peek. I'm still selling you something down the road by getting you excited about it. It's not just, hey, look at me. It's, hey, I have something for you. You should really lean in and pay attention. Generate enthusiasm and anticipation. This actually builds trust over time. This works well when you do have a new service or a product. You've won an award. You've got big milestones. You've been in business for X amount of years. It's anniversary. Partnering up with somebody to do with a merger. These are all really exciting things that yes have to do with you, more so than community building, but are a nice way to work in a softer sell as a part of your content strategy. And these are the community building pillars: connect, educate, entertain, and inspire. You can do all of these, and I would encourage you to get playful and to try as many of these types of content as you feel comfortable. But always ask yourself before you post something, does it fit into one of these 4 categories? Is this inspiring to somebody? Is this entertaining to watch? Am I teaching somebody something? Or am I just telling a story to connect, or my origin story or something like that? Before I post things, I often do this and only this. Why am I posting this? Is it just for like fun and vanity? Is it to show you, this new idea or this new tip that I have? And if you can't answer yes to any of these, you should probably sit on it a little bit longer before posting. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read all of these examples. You guys had it in your printouts, but you'd see a lot of content on social media that would fit into these examples. So maybe use that as inspiration. If you were to pick just 4 content pillars, which sales and community content best fit your brand? So these are the 2 sales, and these are the 4 community or connection pillars. If you had to choose just 4 or maybe even 3, limit yourself. Let's not overwhelm on day 1. Write down which of these you feel most comfortable creating content around. Some people are educators by nature. Some people are really funny and like to do silly dances. Some people would never in a million years create content that was a silly dance. So everybody will have their own mix. So write down which 3 or 4 content pillars you could actually see yourself creating content around repeatedly. And then maybe a specific content idea for each of those pillars. When I do house tours, for example, when there's a new house on the market, that's a little bit of inspiration because I'm showing off a beautiful house. You could see yourself here. Sometimes it's about the staging and the decoration. But other times it's just to entertain because people just love to watch beautiful things. My educational content usually comes in written form. And I post a lot of connecting content, sharing personal stories and relatable stories. And I do most of this without really thinking about it before it goes up, before it's said. I do try to make sure that it hits at least one question.
So when you're suggesting 4 content pillars and 2 from the left-hand side, could you do like 2 posts that are of the same? Like 2 convinces,
In a row?
connected and entertaining.
Not in a row.
No.
No, not in a row.
Mix them
So
So
I
you were
see.
getting it.
Yeah.
Let's segue.
We don't want to see too many of the same content types back to back. I don't want you to see just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. And then, maybe once in a while, something that is not a hard sell or a hey, look how great I am. We want to think about our calendar as a whole. Take a month, take a week, whatever amount of time you think you have the capacity to plan for in one sitting, and just kind of map out. If I'm doing a convincing post, I'm doing an explained post, I'm trying to educate somebody here, would be relatable here, and I'm going to come in with a hard sell and announce my big thing, the following week. The point is not to be too formulaic, and you don't have to stick to this or a schedule like this long term, but just to be aware of mixing it up and to make sure that you're not constantly bombarding somebody's feed with just one type of content. So map your key dates, mark whatever you know is coming, whether you've got a product launch or an event, a sales period. Figure out what type of content would make sense during those dates and assign those pillars, and then fill in the rest accordingly. And then 3, plan a shoot day. Once a week, twice a month, however much time you have. Know exactly what type of videos you want to create. This could be like a talking head video or just sitting there and maybe somebody has a tripod up, you've got a little microphone, or it could be a day in the life type video. Just come prepared with a plan and walk off this time as sacred time. I'm going to do this for 2 hours and I'm going to get a month's worth of content out of it. I'm going to show you a few software and AI that I've been using to really help batch and creating content for different people. OpusClip is probably my favorite one right now. I can turn one super long video into really dozens of shorter clips. And we know that people have really short attention spans online. And so short clips tend to engage and perform well. This is the list of tools that I've been using and recommending to a lot of other folks. Otter.ai is fantastic. You want to transcribe something, if you're doing it for more educational series or a longer interview with a top customer or a vendor, and say you want to have captions over it, to edit that video, you don't actually need editing skills at all. There's a window that will pop open the transcript, everything that they're saying in the video, and you can edit the text, and it will automatically cut out pieces of the video. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
You can do a find and replace or if you change the name of something, you just totally remove it really easily in one fell swoop. CapCut's a really nice video editing app, really good on mobile with Reels and TikToks, which are interchangeable, by the way. If you're filming a Reel, you should also post it to a TikTok and to a YouTube short because they're all the same format. And why not get as much exposure as you can on one single piece of content? OpusClip, I mentioned, one long video like we're filming here, chopped up in seconds into a bunch of little bite-sized tidbits. Canva is a fantastic platform I use a lot to create text-based posts, text overlays over images. They've got great graphics. They have a great mobile app as well as desktop platform. Scheduling posts, if you are doing batch content, Later and Buffer are really nice options. And create schedule when you want them to drop, and it'll just do it for you, and you can be busy doing your real job and not have to worry about it. And the tools that you need to film are honestly your phone and some natural lighting. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need a tripod. You just pop up your phone, on a rigid surface. I do that all of the time. You can buy a magnet for the back of your phone, put it on the fridge. Start small and just prove to yourself that you could build the muscle and habit of creating the content before you invest in anything too fancy. These little microphones that people have, $20 on Amazon. Go ahead, invest in that. That's great.
Our community is big.
There are most of them have free versions with paid upgrades. I pretty much paid for OpusClip immediately when I saw how powerful it was, and I think that it would only turn my long video into like 5 videos unless I upgraded. So it felt worth it. And if you have like a big batch day, you're filming a month's worth of content, if you just paid for it every couple of months and you deactivate in between, I don't know, get creative. I know as small businesses, sometimes we have to be that scrappy. But yeah, most of these do have a free version, so you can like get the hang of it to decide if it's for you. Coming back around to this slide that we started with, the myth bust side, you don't need to be perfect to post. You will never know what will connect people. And showing up in any way, shape, or form is better than being totally invisible. I always say none is better than perfect. You can't scrutinize. Everybody hates the way they look, hates the way they sound. Just put it up anyway, and I promise it's better than not being there at all. The myth that you don't have the time, that's shoot for 2 hours a month, and you can get at least 3 posts a week out of that. A lot of people want to fully outsource it. You can get help. And a lot of people do, and it works out just fine. But what you can't outsource is your authenticity. If you are a personality behind your brand, you need to be there. You need to be either in front of a camera or creating the stories that are going to resonate and relate to you. Well, who love you and who have showed up at the very beginning to support you. Once you fully outsource that, people can tell. And we just talked about the fact that you don't need fancy equipment. Phone, good light, maybe inexpensive microphone, and a really clear message is enough to start. And use AI also to help you script things. You don't have to come up with like a fully fledged Instagram post or talking to the camera. AI can help you. I use Claude probably more now than I use ChatGPT. Always go through it to watch for mistakes, and to help it train to your voice. It does really good over time, and honestly, I think it sounds more like me than I do at this point. So stop waiting, start posting. Your future customers are awake in the middle of the night, looking for things. You build your pillars, back your content, and show up consistently. Your brand will grow. It's impossible for it not to. Costs nothing, almost nothing. And I just wanted to leave you with some folks who do social media really well. They're either teaching what I'm teaching, strategy and content building, or they are small businesses, where they're teaching you how to keep up with the different trends that we're seeing percolate through different platforms. So if you're not following these folks, I think this is all Instagram. Highly recommend it. See if you get anything more out of it. It's all about being inspired, getting new ideas, seeing how other people are rolling things out.
All right, Scott. Everybody, I'm Scott Harris. Thank you, Rachel, for an awesome presentation. I think our presentation's coupled together well because the focuses on branding and social media and soft skills. I'm more on the technical side and then websites and SEO and AI, just like that. So it's all a big part of the marketing picture, and you can't just do one without the other. But it's a good mix of different things. Just briefly about me, I run a marketing agency. It's called ClientClicks, and I've been doing this for 20 years now. I was actually on the Illustrator Chamber board. Rachel and I were together on the committee when we started the Best of El Cerrito program, which was one of my initiatives that I came up with that for other cities too. Anyhow, I'm super proud of that, and let me share some things with you guys. So first of all, I like to talk a little bit about local SEO fundamentals. And what SEO is most of you probably know it's search engine optimization. It's all about getting fast. And when somebody goes online and they search for activities VRB or best summer camp opportunities or things like that, you know what I mean? Then you want to be found. And this is becoming even more important with AI. I just watched last week Google have their annual Google I/O conference where they announce all the new things coming out. And one of them was about how AI search will be able to create a planner. They demonstrated how someone might be looking for activities for their kids. And because Google may already have access to your Gmail and your photos, they know a little bit about your family. And the example they used is this a guy was saying his daughter is really into animals. She loves zoos, and the son is into sports. And so when you ask Google for activities, it fans out and it looks at all sorts of different options. And the more it knows about your business, because you've done the things that Rachel talked about with social media, and because you've built service pages on your website, and because you filled out your Google business profile, it knows that your ping pong is open every day and on holidays and on the weekends. Or it knows that the practice space offers summer camps. And it knows a little bit about your business because of all the work you've done to feed the Google AI engine. So I think it's more important than ever to do search optimization, meaning putting things into the digital space, whether it's your website or social or other third-party platforms. So I won't. With limited time, I won't get into all these details. But the basics of SEO, it is starting with keyword research. So you want to know what other people are searching to find you. So let's say if you're in the practice space, you're not sure how people are finding practice space. Maybe it's summer camps, or maybe it's after school programs, or maybe it's public speaking training. You want to know what are people actually typing in when they find you online. And there's tools that I subscribe to. There's one called Ahrefs and SEO Moz is another one. They will give you a lot of ideas about how you should be optimizing your content. So that's the keyword research phase. On page optimization, it's writing blogs, it's writing service pages. One task that my team does for a lot of businesses is we create service pages and location pages. So service pages, if you're, let's say, like one of my clients is they run a chain of urgent cares and they want to be found for all sorts of things, whether someone had a sprained ankle, or maybe they got a cut, or maybe they had a work injury, or maybe they're looking for vaccines or travel medicine. It goes on and on. And so we've created hundreds of these service pages. And because of that, they get found. The other thing is location page. So let's say if your business is in El Cerrito, but you also would love to have people come visit you who live in Berkeley and Albany and Richmond and Pinole and all the neighboring towns. You can create pages on your site that are designed for that. So, like one of my clients does dog training, and he is well known in Oakland, but he wants to be found elsewhere too, Albany and El Cerrito and Embryville and Richmond and Lafayette, and it goes on and on. So we create pages on his site surrounding these different locations, and we're trying to provide useful information. So it's not just a bunch of duplicate boilerplate, but rather we think, what would someone who is in Lafayette want to know about dog training? And so we thought, well, they want to know what are good parks to take your dogs to, what are some restaurants that are dog friendly, and what are places where you could, where maybe vets. And so we kind of think about all the different options that might go into making a page useful all over the place. Same thing with all the other businesses that we work for. We try to create useful information for people. Um, Link building is something that's still important as ever. And what that means is making sure that your business is linked from other businesses. And it's not always easy to do, but a great link you can get is a Chamber of Commerce link. So a little plug for the El Cerrito Chamber of Commerce. Or if you were nominated in the Best of El Cerrito, you can get a link in there. Those are two easy ones. Finally, technical SEO. You want to make sure that your website shows up quickly and that it has its tag set. There's all sorts of kind of things you can do behind the scenes that help it out. So, local SEO in 2026. So things are changing dramatically in the last year. And now AI is becoming very important. And I want to get into that in a short time, just show you a little bit. The fundamentals still apply. I get calls from my clients all the time saying, should I bother with Google anymore? Because don't people just use ChatGPT? And the reality is they're using ChatGPT and they're using Gemini and Claude and other tools, but Google is still the big place to be. It's more important than getting Google reviews. It is very important because when people search for best dentist near me or best summer camps near me, the reviews are the most critical ranking factor. So you want to reach out to your customers whenever you can and ask for a review. AI and local search timeline. This is just a little background. It's only been a few years. So starting in 2022 is when ChatGPT launched, and I've got a few statistics I can share with you. They said in 2 months, ChatGPT had 100 million users, which is pretty crazy. Facebook, by comparison, started in 2004, and it took them, even though Facebook is famous for growing exponentially as well, it took 4 years to reach that mark. So AI is just taken off like nobody's ever seen. The Google SGE, which is 2023, that is Google's first attempt at the AI experience. And at first it was done in, you had to join it as they call it the labs. So it wasn't available to everybody. But now, fast forward to today, it is available to everybody. And you'll notice a lot when you do searches, you'll see that AI overview. And that's what they call the 0-click results, because rather than just looking at the 10 blue links that has been there at Google for 20 plus years. Now you've got this overview. So businesses want to know, well, how can I optimize so that I'm also in that AI overview? These are some of the things that we look at. One practical example that I've been pleased with is that Google AI loves these best of city contests. So they will, when they do this fan out query and they look to see where a business, they look at your reviews, but they also, and they look at your social media, but they also cite the best of El Cerrito as a source. And I've got one client in San Mateo that's a lawyer, and when you search for best attorney in San Mateo, like he pops right up because he won the contest and because we promoted him best of San Mateo. So that's just one example. And I don't know if that'll last forever, but we are really happy to see that ChatGPT and Google Gemini value the public's voting in this contest. Here's the ChatGPT growth. I was talking about how it started out and it had the 100 million users. Now we're up to 900 million today, and you can see it's still up enough. But just visually to see the difference between ChatGPT and Google, there's Google off the chart. They have 4.5 billion users compared to the 900 million. So even though ChatGPT might seem like this gargantuan thing, Google is still the gargantuan thing. And for my clients, we do search optimization and we do Google ads, and that's where most of the clients come from, is from Google, even though it's not quite as exciting or the latest thing. You know, it still works very, very well. And here's another little visual way to look at the different AI and social media platforms and kind of decide where do you want to be. It's good to be everywhere. Definitely do all these things, but also look and see how many users are on each platform. And you can see on the left, Google search is still where most people turn to find a business, a product, or a service. And there's Google Gemini, there's ChatGPT, so you can see it's still relatively small compared to the search. And this, I think, is kind of interesting, the market share for AI. So the big blue line represents ChatGPT. And then this pink one is Gemini. And you can see how it's getting bigger each month. I believe that Gemini will eventually become the dominant player in AI. They have access to all this data, like your Google business profile data. They control YouTube. I expect to see that get bigger and bigger and section get smaller. So if I were recommending what platforms to focus on to my clients, I would say don't abandon Google. Keep working on that. Make sure that you show up AI overviews as well as the other places. But that's where the people are. It also makes me think I might want to go get a small Google stock because I think they're just going to keep growing. And so some AI and marketing. Can I just see a show of hands, like who's using AI to help them in their business? Awesome. And I know, like for me, I use it almost every day now, and it just blows my mind all the things that you can do with it. I've created apps with it, and I've used it to help make websites better when my customers want to add a new feature. Like we just made a little lookup feature in websites that I was able to create with Claude. It's incredible. Making images, like one of my clients does sewer repair, and he wanted to demonstrate how does a like sewer camera work, and how does it work to do this type of repair where instead of replacing the sewer pipes, you put a new pipe inside of an old pipe, and it's called trenchless sewer repair. And so I was able to use Claude to create a whole animated video on how this works, and it took a few days, but it eventually looked pretty good. And so it's like a nice way to be able to enhance, like create visuals and maybe anything it is you might do, you can use AI to help you do that. I use AI for photos a lot of the time to enhance them and make them work better. And anyhow, just keep experimenting because it does all sorts of amazing things. Chatbot, one of my clients uses AI chatbot. I'm not a big fan because I kind of want to talk to real people, but he thinks it saves him some time. And also ads are coming. I just got accepted into the Chat GPT ads beta. So I'm kind of excited to dig in and see what that does. You can be sure there'll be ads in these things pretty soon because that's how they'll get monetized. Like Google still gets 75% of their revenue through their ads program. So they're going to make sure those ads are still in there. Serve that. And finally, just a brief touch on social media. Rachel is more of an expert on that than myself, but I do help my clients with social. And you can use AI to help you. There's a platform that I started using, which is called Creatify.ai, and it's pretty cool. Like you could type in a big prompt and you could pick an avatar. It's got hundreds of different characters of their men and women in different ages and different styles. And then you can pick a voice and it'll help you create this video. What I've decided after doing a few though is that it's better to be authentic. And I'm probably not going to use it quite as much because like Rachel was saying, people want to see authenticity. Do your own videos, but you can certainly use AI to help you create the visuals you want and to put the titles over it and maybe make nice opening and closing segments. And that bring it all together. You want to have a unified approach to marketing. So do a little bit of everything. You have to do social, and you want to do blogging. The more that Google and others are learning about you, the more important it is to make sure that they have the information about your business, what's open all hours and late, or whether you have camps on in the summertime, whatever it is you do, make sure that they understand all those things. Rachel, why don't you come up?
When you were talking about AI and everything, I understand like you're talking mostly about businesses that are a brick and mortar. But what if you're an online direct consumer service or product that you sell online, you don't have a brick and mortar? How do we use the same things? So like I sell food products and I sell mostly through my website. Sometimes at pop-ups, but it's always through the website. Um, so when I hear that people are searching now through Google and everything, if people don't know my product exists, they're not searching for me. So what exactly should I be then using all of these tools for so that my business or my brand comes to brand as well?
And definitely, yeah. So for people who aren't getting a lot of search traffic, I think social media is where you want to be. Especially so if you don't have a lot of social followers, ads could really help you because if you haven't tried them, you might not know you can reach all sorts of niches. You can specify like the age group you want, and of course, the geography. You could get down the zip code, and you can look for people who are shopping for a certain, like maybe someone who's interested in health and wellness. You can reach these people. So it lets you dial it in very specifically. And that's what I do. Like my client, he does sewer repair. He wanted to reach realtors who are selling homes in Vallejo because they have to do a sewer inspection before sale. So I was able to like dial it right in with that audience because you definitely don't want to waste any money on these things because it's very expensive. And if you've got like people who are 15 looking at your ad who aren't owners, then you're doing it all wrong because you're going to use up your budget. So I would say, yeah, social media is probably a good way to go about it. Definitely, like, website is still important because you want to feed AI. So if somebody is looking for something similar to what you have, that you want to make sure AI knows about it.
I were you, I would use AI to help you build an organic brand awareness campaign or strategy or figure out who you should be targeting with some ads. Help create the ads. I would go home and I would open up ChatGPT and explain exactly what you're trying to sell, who is for, who you are, why you care, where you came from, and say, tell me tell me what I need to do to get into 10 food blogs by the end of the quarter. And I will say, well, if these are the top ones in your demographic, your market, who are similar enough to rate your food, I'll give you their shipping information. You can send them your products, you can kindly ask for a post. I think it will get so granular in terms of giving you a plan on like just how to get started and save you a lot of research and time and energy trying to figure out like how to apply specific AI tactics. Just ask AI to come up with a plan. That's what I would do.
Yeah, right now, like if we look at websites, my web hosting service is Shopify. Shopify has an like an add-on AI agentic and everything that kind of figures that out. But I guess like since I don't know what to gate it necessarily, uh, it always like helps like where to go, how to kind of change that, how to use.
Ask it, how can I best prompt you? Yeah, to get to exactly this end result. Yeah.
You can ask it to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm working on something, I say, I want to do this. Can you give me a list of questions, of information you need? It will give me like 20 questions. And then I just go through and I answer them all.
Oh, wow.
And then it writes, I do blog posts for every individual product. It's like not every, but categories that maybe, and the blog posts themselves are hidden, like they're not in the directory of the website. But when people are searching for something like that, it's going to come up in search engines. So that's why I do blog posts.
We have a question, practice space.
Rachel, for you. I have a few questions that maybe I'll like find your Instagram in.
Oh yeah, I should have had that on there. It's why I never watched.
I'll just stick with one for now. For TikTok. So my nonprofit is currently only on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We've had this debate about joining TikTok. I'm curious, like, your thoughts on it, especially for our kind of content. It would be like public speaking tips I could see doing well on TikTok, but like for other stuff like testimonials, like not so well if we're like it's not as entertaining or educating to people. And then starting out, would you recommend like gathering a bunch of content and then like posting daily? I've heard is a strategy. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I'm not a TikTok expert. I'm like you guys, where I did everything but TikTok for a really long time.
Right.
Because what I do, it's so regional, it's so local. It's like, and I know that the biggest benefit of using TikTok is its vast reach. And you can grow an audience really quickly around the world. I think that's not helpful unless I want to be like a tips and tricks guru in my industry, right? Which that could be a huge part of your brand. I can see public speaking tips doing phenomenally. It would be more of a brand awareness play.
Right.
And trying to funnel people into your website and hoping that they were more geographically found than it would be trying to get people from TikTok directly into your customer sales funnel. And then in terms of how often to post, I really can't say what the best practice is, but I do know that the more consistent you are with whatever you decide, the algorithm favors. So if you're only posting once a week, make it Friday at 3 p.m. every single week. The consistency matters. You want to try posting every single day, try to do it at the same time of day. It signals that you have some sort of intentionality, you have strategy, and for people who are following you, they know when to show up and seek the new stuff. So algorithms reward the creator for pulling in viewers to come and see your specific content at a specific time.
And then really quickly for YouTube, because I know that they're rich. For like normally I put some like 2 to 3 times a month. It's both like shorts and like long form content. Do you have any advice for just like more engagement?
Yeah, so first I would do an audit and make sure that you fill the video with as much metadata as you possibly can. Like as many tags as it will allow, fill out the full description with links back to your website, their sign up form, all of that stuff. Within the video content itself, the best tips I can give you are get to the point as quickly as possible. Tell people what you're going to tell them, even with like a cold open. Like you see people on YouTube all the time. Today we're going to do this. And then they say, if you don't follow me, I'm so and so. They do the whole preamble. But you'd have to get to what you're going to tell them as quickly as possible because we've got 3 seconds to decide that they're going to book them. And then have a really clear call to action at the end. Say, tell us in a comment below, what is your blah, blah, blah. Your biggest fear in public speaking, the worst experience that you've had. A lot of videos end without a clear ask, and so people don't really know what to do. Maybe the call to action is share this with a friend who also hates public speaking or something to that effect. People want to be told what to do.
Feature. Just more on branding. I'm typically the face of my brand. I'm in real estate as well, multifamily, but I intend to retire,
Oh.
and have to struggle with how to transition my face to be the face of my brand to when I leave, my brand continue. Have any tips on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a long ways from retirement, but I'm already strategizing this as well. It's hard to leave a real estate business because it is all about you. People are buying in and they're trusting you and you specifically. I've introduced a new character into my business. I now have a business partner who's also a real estate agent, conveniently also named Rachel. But she hates being on camera. She didn't do any social media before we partnered up. I basically brought her into the videos that I create so that she can become a familiar face among the audience that I've already created. And I'm showing them that I love her, I trust her. She's just as great as working with me, you know. And so when it is time for me to retire, she's 10 years my junior, also very convenient. People will feel familiar in that transition. It won't feel like I'm just suddenly introducing a new person. So consider a partner or figuring out who your successor is going to be, who you're going to give your book of business to, and see if you can start incorporating that into your content mix sooner than retirement. So it's not such a hard pivot. Just one idea.
Maybe it's that into brand.
Yeah, totally, totally. Or you could say that you're now part of a real estate group and you've got a lot of different faces, but it's more of a brokerage. And we're just referring business.
Yeah, we don't sell. Go be managed park buildings. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Give yourself as a character, not
Spotless. I was curious if you could come up with AI copyrighted conflicts where AI content is jeopardized. My understanding is that legally it actually needs to be copyright comes. Engine, granted, it's moving so quickly it asks people for just having text on your website, things like that. Even doctoring out photos kind of thing. I mean, in some ways, I take credit to some degree if it's your own work that and you're just showing what it could look like in a landscape architect contract. So there's a lot of time lapses that don't happen if we don't follow our clients, perhaps every time. But have you come into conflict or guidelines for if copyright issues come up for website design?
Yeah, not specifically with AI, but like I've always advocated for using licensed stock photos. It's not your own photo. So like I subscribe to Shutterstock and they've got all kinds of good stuff in there. I'm sure there's all sorts of landscaping options. I just read something last week where they said up to 50% of the content online it's probably AI generated now. So I think it's just massive. People are using this stuff. And certainly it's like a web developer. I'm careful to, I don't want to put my clients at any kind of legal risk. So it's always either a photo they own or a licensed one. I only use AI for stuff like info graphics. But that keeps a lot of trouble.
Good, interesting. And side sort of movement to AI and licensing. ChatGPT prevented me from copying a trademark error when I was trying to replicate an existing logo with different words. So same fonts, the Santa Cruz logo and circle, the surfboard kind of thing. I wanted it to say my son's baseball team name instead because they were going to a baseball tournament in Santa Cruz. And I put it into ChatGPT. I said, I want this logo, but I want it to say something else. And they basically wouldn't let me fly that close to the sun. They're like, we can't make the A exactly like the triangle. That would get you into trouble. And so, at least for now, I trust it to tell me. And if you ask it to tell you, am I allowed to use this? Am I going to get in trouble if I use this anywhere? And it's done me right so far and keeping me out of any copyright.
So I get the calls, your Google listing, whatever your name, and we want to represent your SEO, and it's all, of course, there's a fee. Should I even explore that? I usually don't take those calls. I don't even really look at Google search, and I know that it costs money for that. Do you feel this worth it for to even pay to get your name, your business name off the vote?
Just disregard those. Those are spam bots that'll call you, and a lot of them will misrepresent, saying they're with Google, and it's not true. Like, don't waste your money with that stuff. But the second part of your question is it worth doing SEO? Whether you do it on your own or ask AI or hire someone like me, that certainly is worthwhile because showing up and the search results is key. It's different for every business, but like I got my start working for a law firm. I started a law firm with a buddy. We used SEO and we used Google Ads. This was like back in 2006, and it was phenomenally successful. Like we got it up to the top of the rankings all over the Bay Area, and we ended up selling the firm 10 years later. That's before I started ClientClicks. So for many businesses, it's all you need. Like we didn't do any social media. Yeah, it was all Google Ads and SEO. But it depends, of course, on what sort of product is represented.
Any other questions? All right. Well, then I guess we can call this a wrap. Everybody, let's give them a hand. Thank you all for coming.